No less than 24 hours after the announcement of a plea deal being made with U.S. prosecutors in the case against Khalid Sheikh Mohammed for the 9/11 attacks, Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin and the Pentagon rejects the plea deal that was on the table, and back on the table is the death penalty, according to Carol Rosenberg in the New York Times. And let's read the headline. Defense Secretary revokes plea deal for accused 9/11 plotters. Fed Secretary Lloyd Austin on Friday relieved the overseer of the war court at Guantánamo Bay and revoked a plea agreement reached earlier this week with the accused mastermind of the September 11, 2001 attacks and two alleged accomplices. Just like I said in the other video, last year, the Biden administration, in that case, Biden rejected a plea deal to take the death penalty off the table. In this plea deal that just happened yesterday, Biden wasn't involved. So it's really interesting to see, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin rejected on his own. Where's Biden in all this? The Pentagon announced the decision with the release of a memorandum relieving the senior official at the Defense Department responsible for military commissions of her oversight of the capital case against Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and his alleged accomplices for the attacks that killed nearly 3,000 people in New York at the Pentagon and the Pennsylvania field. The overseer, retired Brigadier General Susan Escalera, signed a pretrial agreement on Wednesday with Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, Walid bin Atash Khalad, Mustafa al-Hawsawi, that exchanged guilty pleas for sentences of at most life in prison and taken away the authority. Mr. Austin assumed direct oversight of the case and canceled the agreement, effectively reinstating it as a death penalty case. I wonder if this is unprecedented. Has that ever happened, with a military? I don't think it ever happened before, right? Because of the stakes involved, the responsibility for such a decision should rest with me, Mr. Austin said in an order released Friday night at the Pentagon, effective immediately. In the exercise of my authority, I hereby withdraw from the 3 pretrial agreements that you signed on July 31st, 2024. Mr. Escalera's approval of the agreement that was reached between prosecutors and the defendants over 2 years of negotiations had appeared to resolve the case, which had been mired in pretrial hearings since 2012. Some family members of those killed in the attacks reacted with anger that a death sentence was no longer possible. Mr. Austin was traveling abroad and returned to the United States later that day. And that's all for the article there. I'm pretty sure a little bit more will come out. But what I like to see is a trial, and that's going to be hard to do. Even with the death penalty on the table, what good is the death penalty if there is no trial? Because of the simple fact that these confessions were made under duress of torture. I'm sorry, but they're not going to be legitimate, even if they were guilty, truly guilty. But there could be one instance of where there could be alleged guilt shown in a court, and that is the story of Yosri Fuda's interview of Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and Ramzi bin al-Shib in a Karachi al-Qaeda safe house in February of 2002. I could be wrong about the month, but that year, 2003, in that year, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed had contacted Al Jazeera and specifically asked for Yosri Fuda to interview him and Ramzi bin al-Shib in regards to taking full responsibility for 9/11 attacks. Now, I've interviewed Nick Fielding, who knows Yosri Fuda very well, and they wrote the book. They both co-authored the book called Masterminds of Terror, which was an outstanding book, and talked about the whole 3-day interview with Yosri Fuda and Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and Ramzi bin al-Shib, where they did a video interview taking full blame. Now, according to Nick Fielding, that video rests in the hands of the CIA. If that's the case, then why the need for the torture of Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and Ramzi bin al-Shib and anybody else for that matter? You have a clear definition of guilt before they were even captured. 1, the tape doesn't exist. 2, something else is the reason why the CIA tortured these people. Is it because they wanted to put the notion of always making the American people believe that they were guilty, but because of torture, they may believe otherwise. See, that's the thing about the federal government. They don't want you to know anything. They want you to believe whatever. And that's why I'm a stickler when it comes to information knowledge in the hands of the people, because we can hold people accountable, right? What I'd like to see is that video tape being presented as evidence in this court if the trial ever does start. And then we have the ever looming forgotten operation headed by the NSA in regards to what they were listening onto the phone calls of the Yemen hub and bin Laden's satellite phones. But more importantly, the Yemen hub. That's 6 years of data, 6 years before 9/11 even happened, right? What were they talking about on those phones? I keep saying it over and over again until I get it into your heads. This is where the nexus of 9/11 stands. Then we have the Saudis and Israelis who are monitoring these hijackers in the year 2000, 2001. What did they collect? Did they have sensitive information? Did they not? We don't know because we deported everybody. You think they're going to be willing to share information after the fact? Well, fuck no. Of course not. But with enough attention drawn to these instead of fucking World Trade Center 7 and Judy Wood space beams, we can get somewhere. So that's all I wanted to do is just show you, like, just like that, how quick things can turn and how fast information can be provided to us if we just pay attention. And to you people in the 9/11 Truth Movement, let's get on the ball here. You guys have been stuck for 23 years. New information always comes out. It's about learning. I'm learning too. So let's really put attention to where it deserves. Stop with this no nonsense, no planes at the Pentagon, Shankville, that the hijackers are patsies. You're not going anywhere with that, and you haven't gone anywhere in 23 years with it. So this is where it's at. This is one part of a massive amounts of conspiracies involving 9/11 and involves with the intelligence, domestic and foreign, pre-9/11 operations, which led to the success, unfortunately, of 9/11 attacks. Guys, if there's any more breaking videos, you'll be the first to know because you deserve to have the information belong to you because the information is power and power belongs in the hands of the people where we can make a difference. Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe.